Hey guys, OGalbina here. For you guys, our BBL season 7 draft analysis, BBL Wi-Fi draft analysis. We're back for yet another season. Big shout out to Liv for running another season. Obviously for just running the league in general. She absolutely killed it. So big shout outs to her for having us back as well. I'm looking to hopefully come back with a BBL championship. We had a really solid run last season. We didn't exactly win. Obviously, we made it into playoffs, but Liv knocked us off herself, and our boy Kurt went on to win it. Now, as much as I love Kurt, he's not going to repeat this season. We're winning it. And if you're excited for this season's BBL journey, be sure to drop a like on the video. And of course, if you're new, you came over from Matt's draft stream. Hello, my name's Owen, OGalbina. I do plenty of draft content. I stream a lot as well on this channel. And if that's something that interests you, be sure to drop a sub. I think I am very analytical in my content. I think I'm a great place if you're trying to learn how to become better in the draft format and to learn from your mistakes and learn from my mistakes and, see what I do well and stuff like that. So if that's what you're into, you try to get better as a player, I think this is a spot for you. But with that being said, let's go and jump into the draft analysis. Now, I know we had a pretty middle of the road pick, if I'm remembering correctly. I think we were like 13th, 12th, 11th, something like that. And again, my philosophy when it comes to drafting in general is always grab what's best on the board and then go from there. There's no point in grabbing, doing a full-on draft plan or anything like that. Just grab what's ever best left on the board and then go from there. And in my mind, at this point in the draft, one of the best things left was Ho-Oh, and I jumped on the opportunity. Now, Ho-Oh is obviously incredibly bulky, has the best ability in the draft format, in my personal opinion, in Regenerator. Obviously, just letting it regain 33% of its health every time it switches out, which is amazing when you put that in conjunction with this thing's incredible bulk, and it's access to heavy duty boost. Now it doesn't have to worry about that debilitating 50% chip that it's taken from Stealth Rock. Now it's just avoiding them in general, and this Pokemon's incredibly hard to kill. You can throw off free Sacred Fires and just nab crazy burns on things. Brave Bird plus Sacred Fires, honestly, pretty uncontested against a lot of teams. You gotta have a pretty fat not grass. That's the opposite. You gotta have a pretty fat rock to potentially try and switch into that, and even then, 90% of rocks don't appreciate getting burned, and we have access to things like Earthquake. We can also go with special sets. We can throw off big Calm Mines as well. We get Giga Drain for waters and rocks and stuff like that as well. We can throw off Mystical Fires and Flamethrowers and Fire Blast potentially, and potentially try and win with a Calm Mindset. Subtoxic. There's a bunch of potential options that we can roll with for Ho-Oh to potentially make it viable, and I think our main goal with this draft is obviously just going to be trying to support Ho-Oh and cover its weaknesses as well as humanly possible. You're going to see in our next pick, we kind of do that in Zygarde. Now, what does Zygarde do? It gives us a phenomenal rock resist, an amazing rock resist. A Pokemon that absolutely bullies them. And Zygarde obviously appreciates Ho-Oh as well, really bullying those 1,000 arrows resists that Ho-Oh absolutely hates, and that's going to be so unbelievably nice. Zygarde plus Ho-Oh is going to be, not one, incredibly hard to break, and two, incredibly hard to keep your pieces around to potentially beat it later in the game, which is awesome. Zygarde also does plenty of subtoxic shenanigans. It also does off big glares to slow things down. It also subs and coils and dragon dances and dragon tails things out and extreme speeds for priority. Zygarde is an amazing Pokemon, one of my absolute favorite monsters to use in the standard draft format, and I think in Ubers it's going to kind of go over just as well. Unfortunately, this isn't Zygarde complete. It'd be pretty crazy if they allowed us to get both of those. As in, it's just straight up illegal. You are not allowed to do that at all. Sorry, I'm playing with my shirt a little bit. I don't like the way the collar looks. That's my work shirt, and I'm just kind of recording this after work because I have the time and I have my green screen up from streaming. But regardless, absolutely love Zygarde. I think they cover each other really well. Very clumpy speed tier wise for these first two Pokemon, but I think we can mitigate that a little bit later on and go from there. Now, next up, I wanted to ensure a good ice resist. I wanted to ensure a good fat water type. Because my fire type right now with my Zygarde, one thing that Ho-Oh doesn't cover for Zygarde is that ice weakness that Zygarde has, obviously. And I wanted to grab a good one, and we ended up grabbing Slowbro next. Now, not only does Slowbro give us a phenomenal ice resist, it also gives us another regen mon, forming a little bit of a regen core with Ho-Oh, grabbing us momentum with Teleport, which is obviously amazing on those fat grasses that want to come in on, potentially mons like that would come in and exploit Slowbro. We can go hard into our Ho-Oh on that Teleport and throw free Sacred Fires and stuff like that, which is obviously absolutely amazing. Really does kind of tie this defensive core together. It takes a lot of pressure off of Ho-Oh to take on, like, you know, potential grounds, because obviously they're going to have rock coverage. It takes, same thing with fighting types as well. It takes off pressure off Ho-Oh to where Ho-Oh can shine and do its thing, and Slowbro can function as a defensive pivot that our team can kind of rely on as its backbone. So I think these first 3 picks really, really complement each other well and, you know, sit pretty with each other. So really happy with these 3. Next up, though, I wanted to grab some Stealth Rock because our ground type does not get them, so I wanted to ensure that in Neolego. Neolego also gives us about a 100-ish speed tier, which is really, really clutch. It gives us a grounded poison and T-Spikes. I think T-Spikes with Ho-Oh, Zygarde, and Slowbro are going to be very difficult to deal with. If you don't have a grounded poison, you don't bring it, and I get up T-Spikes, it's going to be very hard for you to deal with my team over the course of the game, in my opinion. Gives us a great Scarfer. We didn't have great Scarfers up to this point, and this is one that hits a great speed tier for that. Great coverage, and obviously Power Gem and Sludge Wave, but also Dazzling Gleam and Grass Knot. And Foul Play for the potential, like, Metagross and Jirachi that we could go up against. Obviously gets Rocks and T-Spikes, gets cool niche coverage and like Hex, which is also really clutch. I've seen people do that before, run like Thunderwave Hex for things like Rashi as well. So that's obviously really, really solid in itself. And obviously has access to that Meteor Beam set, and we can potentially go speed boosting if we EV correctly. So we can either go special attack boosting, speed boosting, or Spadef boosting, depending on what we want. I'm a huge fan of AV Neolego. It's a great soft check to a lot of scary special attackers, and again, it kind of just really helps us out a ton with this team. So really do like Nihi on the squad. Next up, I grabbed Azelf. I wanted to grab that 115 Elite Speed tier, and we grabbed Azelf. Now, I know this is double Psychic already, which is interesting, but I'm personally a fan of double Psychic if you have a fat one and then an offensive one, and Azelf is definitely that offensive one. It gives us another rocker, which is absolutely amazing. Has crazy coverage. This thing's coverage is absolutely insane. Let me pull up just exactly what it gets so I can kind of illustrate that to you guys. It has Psychic and Psyshock, obviously, Dazzling Gleam, Energy Ball, Fire Blast, and Flamethrower, and Fire Punch. It has Ice Punch. I wish it had Ice Beam, but it does not. It gets Knockoff. It gets Nasty Plot as well, which is really really nice. It gets Play Rough. And I'm kind of talking about coverage on both sides because it has 125 in both of its attack stats, which is absolutely amazing. Grass Knot's another option. Knockoff, Play Rough. We can go with weird power-up punch sets. We get Shadow Ball, Thunderbolt, and Thunder Punch. U-Turn for momentum. This Pokemon's amazing. Has great utility as well, and Taunt and Toxic and Thunder Wave. We can potentially Nasty Plot or Calm Mind up, which is absolutely amazing as well. We get dual screens, we get explosion, so we can potentially be that Suicide Lead, Rocks Up, Screens, Boom type Pokemon as well. And it gives us a much harder offensive presence. Now we have that strong breaker, and I do consider Azelf a phenomenal break. This is a Pokemon I'm really comfortable with. I've used it plenty of times in the past, and I'm really looking forward to using it this season in the BBL for sure. Next up, we got Steelix. I'm a big fan of getting secondary grounds with Zygarde, and again, I know we're doubling up typings already. I understand that, but Steelix was a great steel type on the board. And again, I'm a big fan of doubling up ground types with Zygarde if that second ground type is not 4 times weak to ice or just weak to ice in general. And Steelix and Piloswine are the 2 that come to mind, and Steelix fit our team a little bit better. It gives us another rocker, so now we have 3, where it was kind of an issue before when you draft Zygarde as your ground. It doesn't have rocks, and that makes it that much harder to slot rocks on your team and stuff like that. So Steelix gives me that. It gives me a little bit more of a budget steel type that really does fit the bill well. Very, very fat on the Fizdef side. Obviously, it can be very scary offensively, though. I've seen potential Sheer Force Steelix put in a lot of work. I've just seen offensive Steelix go pretty crazy. Who knows? We might pull an Amel, bring Dragon Dance Steelix, not Mega Steelix, but we might bring Dragon Dance. You know, we can run Iron Defense Body Press sets, obviously, as well, and just be genuinely annoying, roar things around, toxic some things, you know, just be a genuine nuisance, even taunt some slower things if we potentially find ourselves the need to do so. But yeah, that's going to be Steelix. Steelix is very self-explanatory, one of my absolute favorite lower tier grounds and steals, and it kind of just fit the team really well, and we need to kind of start budgeting our points. As you can see, we're kind of big spending right now, and I want to make sure that we had sufficient mons for the rest of our team. So next up, I gotta check my boy. I know you guys, it's pretty much become a massive meme at this point, but we got Big Licky. Absolute favorite low tier normal, for me at least. I absolutely love this Pokemon. I think it's phenomenal. For me, one of the big things with me is I like drafting fat, but I don't like drafting passive fat. And this basically kind of is, it's not passive in the sense that it does a lot of damage, or yeah, it's not like not passive because it does a lot of damage. It's not passive because it can't be taunted. And I hate fat that can be taunted. It drives me insane. So Licky gives us that. It obviously gives us a fat Wishpasser. It gives us a cleric, which is very important. We did not have a cleric up to this point, which is really important. I like Curse and SD. Curse and SD Licky can be really slept on win cons potentially. It gives us a weather check on Cloud 9. So if we play Sun, Sun can get potentially overwhelming for this team looking at it right now. A lot of pressure on Ho-Oh to potentially take those hits from a Venusaur or something like that. Licky is able to do that very well, obviously, which is awesome. And gives us a Ghost immunity, which is great. We still need a Ghost Resist, but it gives us Ghost immunity, which is a great patch to our team. And again, that Cleric support and that Wish support is going to be amazing for things like Slowbro, obviously getting the Cleric part, as well as Zygarde, Steelix, and then them all getting fat Wishes passed into them is also very, very nice as well. So big fan of Licky on this team. Big fan of Licky in general. I will draft this thing till the day I die. There's never a team where I won't draft Licky if given the opportunity as my fat normal. Unless I got like a Lax or something like that. But absolutely love Licky. Next up, we grabbed our Fairy and Comfey. Fairies were getting pretty thin at this point. We're getting sniped on a lot of Fairies, and I need to grab one ASAP. Comfey did that for me. It also gives me another Cleric, which is very important with a very fat, balanced team like this. Grabbing another Fairy is almost paramount, honestly. So we ended up grabbing Comfey. Gives me U-Turn. It gives me a Calm Mind Sweeper. Priority on all its healing moves, and Triage is obviously very, very nice. We can throw off big leeches, we can throw off Synthesis and stuff like that, which is also very clutch as well. So just a very solid mod overall. Not my favorite fairy in the world, but it'll do. I've used it before, I'm comfortable with it. I would have preferred, a different fairy, but there just really isn't a lot in Galar decks right now, and they were all getting sniped before I could get them. So we end up selling with Comfey here. It also hits a decent speed tier 100, even though we're not really going to run that very often. It's just good to know. Next up, we grabbed that Ghost Resist and Tyranitar. We're kind of saving up points to grab this. This is a live suggestion. I know we got double Rock, double Psychic, and it's double Rock, double Psychic, double Ground. But again, not too worried about it. T-Tar is great in Ubers as a Smogon tier, and I think it'll be great in Ubers draft. It gives us a phenomenal Ghost Resist with the Wish support that we have and the Cleric support that we have. Honestly, Ghost shouldn't be an issue, which is great when you have things like Slowbro. It gives a very reliable rocker. It gives a potential win con, Dragon Dance, and Rock Polish. It gives a great breaker with like Banded Tar. I like Scarf Tar too. I think it's very slept on. I wish Pursuit was still in the game. Then it would be even better. But I'm very excited to use Tyranitar in a draft setting. I'm not a big fan of it as a sand setter, not because it's a bad sand setter for sand teams. Just that it's very expensive, but as a Pokemon on its own, I do love T-Tar. I've used Mega T-Tar recently in Crash and a Showdown League, and absolutely loved it there. Really a big fan of it here. I think that this team with T-Tar stacked on top is going to be so hard to break. Ho-Oh, Zygarde, Slowbro, Licky, Steelix, T-Tar, and even Nihi to an extent are going to be very difficult for a lot of teams to deal with, in all honesty. So I'm very excited for Tyranitar in this league. And again, it gives us another rocker, which is what, our fourth rocker. So we have plenty of rocks at this point, which is, again, obviously absolutely phenomenal. And then next up, I need a ground resist. That's going to be Decidueye. Decidueye gives us a ground resist. It gives us a ghost type. It gives us a spin blocker. Though we don't have a lot of hazards. We do have rocks and T-spikes. No spikes. And no webs, because webs wouldn't really help this team very much at all. But again, this gives us another defogger as well. So we have another form of removal on top of Comfey and Ho-Oh. We don't have spin, which is a little bit unfortunate. But this is what gives us that. It has access to set up Nasty Plot and Swords Dance, plenty of priority in Shadow Sneak and Sucker Punch. Spirit Shackle is a great move. I absolutely love Spirit Shackle, forcing not only your opponent to not switch and you potentially trap something, but also stopping your opponent from doubling and putting you in a disadvantageous situation. You can make a pretty safe play most of the time when you Spirit Shackle something in, even if it is a pretty hefty resist, which is awesome. We can obviously Leaf Blade things, we can Leaf Storm things, we can Energy Ball things, we can U-Turn for momentum, which is great. Again, defogging is also a really, really viable option on this thing. It's a great defogger. And yeah, it mainly offers us that really good ground resist. Now, Slowbro can take on 90% of grounds, but having a resist is very nice, but depending on what the ground is. And Decidueye is going to offer us that and that ghost typing, which is, again, absolutely amazing in this generation. And then from this point, we have 2 points left. Now, short little tidbit side note, our buddy Josh, Ultra Player, he's playing in not only BBL Wi-Fi, but also the Arceus division for Showdown. And he had 1 point left, and we were in NCP call one night after like an NCP game where we watched him in the server and stuff like that. And he was like, I don't know what to get with my 1 point. I was like, yo, draft Bagon. And he was like, alright, I'll draft Bagon. So he drafted Bagon for me, baby version of our mascot. And because of that, he was like, yo, now you gotta let me use your last 2 points in BBL. I was like, you know what? That's only fair. So these next 2 picks are courtesy of Josh, aka Ultra Player. So big shout outs to him. Definitely go check him out in the description below. First up, we got Drillbur, which funny enough, actually fits decently with T-Tar. So we got that broken sand offense core with Drillbur. T-Tar, I will be bringing him at least once this season. He has to come. He's not great, obviously. He does actually, so I lied. We do have spin. It's Drillbur. So, I mean, you know, you never know. If someone's that incredibly ground weak and Zygarde isn't enough, we go ground spam with Zygarde plus Drillbur. Realistically, this Pokemon's probably not coming, but I do think out of 1 point mods, this thing isn't awful, considering that we do have a T-Tar. So I'm not super upset with this pick, actually. I think it's cool. And then lastly, my boy picked up the genuine GOAT, probably the MVP of the team, probably the kill leader, Cotton Eye Joe. Our boy. Oh man, I forgot. Okay, I'm sorry. This is like as unprofessional as a draft analysis can get. But Kurt made me a special side just for my draft analysis, and I forgot to use it. So I'm gonna put it. There he is. There's Cotton Eye Joe. Big fan of Cotton Eye Joe. This is Glaring Meowth, obviously, for if you've never seen the Pokemon. Just a funny guy. Josh picked him not knowing that I love this Pokemon's design. I think he's adorable. I think he's very funny. We had him in APLC Season 1 one time, and I absolutely loved him there. He's very funny. One of my favorite Galarmons design-wise, and I think he's hilarious. So I'm very happy he's coming, and I will for sure bring him to at least 1 game. And I'm going to try my best to get him a kill if I can, because I think that'd be absolutely hilarious. So big fan of Cotton Eye Joe. And yeah, that's basically gonna be the team. I'm gonna throw this on screen as well. Sorry, I'm gonna make it large size, and then we're gonna move it down and go under my face. Sorry, again, live editing, because, you know, we're not the most professional, but we're good at Pokemon, so who cares? There we go. That's basically gonna be the team. I'm a big fan of this draft, all the way from Ho-Oh down to Galarian Meowth. I think it's really solid. I think our defensive synergy is really great, and we do still have that breaking powers in things like potentially an offensive Ho-Oh, an offensive Zygarde, Nihi, Azelf, Steelix is strong, T-Tar can be a breaker, and honestly Decidueye potentially. So while our team is defensive, most of it has the capacity and the capability to go very offensive and very strong and very scary like that, or you can do is just go honestly hard balance or even semi-stall potentially depending on the matchup and outbulk our opponent and you know, bully them with fat. And that's obviously great for me. I like being able to be versatile in my building and my playstyle, just because it makes your team a little bit harder to build with, and I think this team is going to be very hard to prepare for, and that's obviously great, and I think I'm going to be very comfortable with it. So if you are excited for this season of the BBL, again, drop a like. I would really appreciate it. And again, if you're new, be sure to drop a sub. We're pushing towards 600 now. I believe we're at 530 at the time of me recording this on May 28th. So if you could drop a sub, help us push towards that goal, I'd very much so appreciate it. And yeah, with that being said, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys with week 1 next week. Later.